And we do want this to be perfect. If it's not perfect, you need to kind of force it, make it perfect. If you need to stretch it in or out or whatever, just get it as neat as you can, because that's how the design goes together. The design goes so that these actually fit perfectly. If you've cut your pieces not quite perfect, that's okay. They don't have to be flawless, but if you've cut them pretty well, then these should line up perfectly. And we'll clamp it and hold it in place. And look, see how we have this wiggle here? So the whole structure can actually move left to right. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. It has a lot of movement in it, so we want to know that it's in the center. Here's how we'll do it. We're going to take a chalk line or a string line or a plumb bob, anything you have, and hold it straight down. Don't let it touch the ground, and we're going to measure. So she's measuring the distance from that side straight over to the chair, from the string straight over to the closest part on the leg. And we'll do the same thing on the other arm. We're going to measure at the same point on the arm, the back corner of the arm, and right over to the leg. And then I had to adjust it a little bit there because it didn't quite fit. And we'll measure it again and see if that's accurate. And if we think it's right, we'll check it again on the other side. This is another one of those times where it pays to take your time, and let's get it set up just right. Alright, so we'll check it again over here. And we'll try to adjust it and get it perfect. I think I went too much the wrong direction there.
3/4? 5 3/4?
I think we ended up with like 5 3/4 on both sides. And yours might be the same, yours might be a tiny bit different. It doesn't really matter as long as they're both equal. If they're equal, you know your arms are centered. Once they're centered, we're going to go ahead and bolt them. I'm going to use the same thing, a 3/8 inch bolt. And the same thing applies here. I could, if I wanted to, put in 3 or 4 deck screws. I don't think there's a problem with that, but if I were doing this for a client, I would go ahead and use carriage bolts. I just want it really strong. Maybe they're going to climb on the chair. Maybe they're going to have their kids roughhousing, or kids are going to, they got teenagers, they're going to play football and tackle into the chair. I don't know. I want the chair to be strong. So that's why I'm going to bolt it together. And before we put in the second bolt, that's why it was important to know that the thing was centered left to right. But it was, so we can go ahead and put in the second bolt, no problem. And you notice I'm kind of supporting the cradle with my hand, and Sai is supporting it there also, because we only have one screw in the front arm, so we don't want it to bend too much. And we have to tap that carriage bolt down so that the square part of the carriage bolt digs into the wood. But we got to support that while we do that so we don't tear the screw out of the front part of the arm that goes down into the leg. And then we'll just tighten that up. And that's that side. We'll do the same thing on the other side, and that part's complete. Now we'll start putting the back slats into the middle cradle, the middle back arch. And so we'll move it. What I did here is actually moved it all the way to the right, and that's not the right way to do it. It should be about 1/4 inch away from all the way to the right. It will work. You'll just have to kind of squeeze these back slats back together at the top.